Welcome back to the channel, everybody. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about backfires. I just dropped my cap. Backfires or misfires on your generator, lawnmower, any kind of small engine that you might have. And it's not really, most people call it a backfire, but it's not really a backfire, more as a misfire. It's when you go to initially start it and it's not starting, then you hear that pop. Then you're like, okay, well, it's trying to start. So you spray a little bit of starting fluid in there, and then you pull it, and it pops again. That's a misfire. I know how to fix that 100% of the time. No matter what, this tip is going to help you find your problem. Now, if you ever sprayed starting fluid and you pull it, and it does that pop, and it comes out the front, and it starts a fire, well, I'm going to tell you guys how to avoid that and how to fix that. So, we'll get right into that. But first, I just have to say thank you to everybody. I hit 1 million views yesterday, and it was phenomenal. Good milestone for the channel, so I appreciate you. So let's get into fixing what is causing your misfire on your small engine. So, short answer is if you have that misfire happen, and you just need to fix it and you don't want to watch the rest of the video, right away, I'm going to tell you it's the valves. 100% of the time, it has to do with the valves. Let me know in the comments if you have a different reason, and I'll let you know why you're wrong. But I'm going to go over why it's doing that misfire and why it's the valves. On your generator, lawnmower, etc., there are 4 strokes. So, there's 4 strokes. The intake stroke, the compression stroke, the power stroke, and the exhaust stroke. So, when you go to pull it to start it, no matter what stroke it's on, it'll eventually catch up to the one that needs it to start, the intake, where this opens the intake valve, sucks in the gas, and then as it goes back down, the intake valve closes, and it comes back up. That's the compression stroke, that's the second one. Now both valves are closed. This is where the spark ignites, causing it to shoot down, which is the power stroke now. And now, as that's still going down, valves are closed. Now, as it comes back up, the exhaust valve's open to let out the exhaust. So, when you hear that pop, it's because either your intake valve is not sealing or stuck open or stuck shut, or your exhaust valve is not sealing, stuck open, or stuck shut. And when you go and you put starting fluid in, and you feel it backfire, and then it starts a little fire, because that means the explosion. Let me see if I could draw a piston here. The explosion in here, here's the spark plug, here's the piston. The explosion in here is going out your intake valve, which is stuck open, causing the fire. So here's a bigger example. We have your piston, your spark plug, and your intake. So, what's going on, most of the time, it'll be your intake valve stuck open. So gas is just constantly coming in and air is constantly coming out, and you can't get a good compression with those valves open. So what you do to fix that is most of the time you have to take off the head and just clean this to where this opens and closes. You can do it with a hammer and some carburetor cleaner most of the time by spraying in here. And there's a valve rod with a spring, and then the cap, which to take off the actual valve cover is easy. It's mostly time it's 4 or 5 10 millimeter or 8 millimeter bolts, and you can get in there and tap it lightly with a mallet, a rubber mallet, so you don't damage anything. But if it's ever your exhaust side, what happened, and this is most of the cases, this doesn't get stuck as much as this. The intake gets stuck because of bad gas that goes in there and eventually sits and sticks the valve open or sticks the valve shut. Most of the time it's open, because when you leave your lawnmower, sometimes that valve is open and the gas just get in there rotting it and sticking it, and then it absorbs water and then rust, and then it's just a pain in the ass. But you can get that fixed. If it's your intake side open, you're going to fix your machine pretty simple. Now the exhaust side, if it's ever stuck open and not sealing, it's most of the time because something happened in here and overheated it. And here's a valve for an example. Now what happened was, and this has been 80% of the time I've seen the exhaust valve stick or not shut, it's because the valve bent. And now this has a little gap in here, which is causing this never to compress all the way. So sometimes they'll run rough, but most of the time you're going to hear that pop because all that air in that explosion is escaping on the compression stroke when this sparks, and that explosion is going out the exhaust instead of causing the explosion to push the piston down. Now you can take it out. It is possible to straighten out the valve. I've done that successfully before, but most of the time you're just going to want to replace it, and it's a pain in the ass because then you got to take the whole head off and everything. So always check if you get that pop and you open your valves and you see this one stuck down. When you turn it and pull it and you see it's just kind of wiggling and the valve is not coming back up, it's pretty easy for an amateur to fix it. Now, if it's your exhaust side, it's going to take some work, but it is possible and you can do it. You just got to order the part that you need for your machine. Now, let's say you did all this. Let's say you did everything and you're still backfiring. What do you do next? Well, I'm going to tell you. Okay, so you're still backfiring, Andrew. The valves are fine. They're opening, they're closing. None of them are stuck. None of them are blah, blah, blah. You're wrong. You said it was 100% the valves. Well, it still is the valves. They're just not opening and closing on the right time. So what you're going to do is where it says 190 cc or whatever it is, there's your recoil. You're going to take it off. Most of the time it's 310 millimeters or 3.8 millimeters. Pretty simple job to do. Now when you get in there, you're going to see your flywheel. Now on your flywheel, right in here, there might be a little key. If you see that key is off, your flywheel key is sheared and your timing's off. Now you're saying, oh, well, the timing, that's not the valves. Well, guess what the timing controls? It controls how the valves open and close. So instead of the intake stroke, the valves are opening the exhaust stroke, or it's opening the intake late, you're still going to have that misfire. So it still relates to the valves in some way, but it's your timing. It's a pretty simple job to do, but it takes some work to do. I wish I could, I actually had a machine on me to show you. So check your valves first. It's easier to do. And then most of the time you can fix your problem right then and there. But if not, check your flywheel key. That's what I have to say about that. In closing, if this video helped you out in any way, make sure you share it with a friend or leave a comment down below. If you have any other questions, I will be able to help you out. I'll heart every comment that comes in. Again, thank you guys so much. 1 million views. It's amazing. I couldn't have done it without you guys watching and liking my videos. It's been pretty fun. I'm still going to continue to make videos if you guys are going to keep watching them. So, I hope this video answered some questions about backfires and misfires for you. So, I hope you guys have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one. Let me know what you guys want to see next, and check out some of these other videos right here.